see that Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living's Wednesday Night Oasis. My name is Reverend Sally Bartholomew. I'm a licensed CSL minister, and I'll be your host for this evening. And we have a wonderful evening in store for you. Our Wednesday night service, we call it Oasis. You might ask, well, why do we call it Oasis? Well, because it is a place where we can come together midweek to be refreshed between Sundays. Most Wednesday night services build upon the themes of the previous Sunday, and this one is no exception. Last Sunday, we had a fabulous speaker, Freddie Lambright III, who happens to be related to our senior minister, Reverend Sunshine. And he introduced ideas inspired by the talk title of Inquiring Minds Want to Flow. And this evening, Rev. Deb Hammond will add her ideas to this weekly theme. We present our Wednesday night services in a satsang style, building off the principles and practices shared during the previous Sunday with the intention that these gatherings be informal, intimate, and interactive. Our theme for the year 2023 with the Centers for Spiritual Living is Living Out Loud. And our monthly theme for February is Curiosity is Our Superpower. So I'd like to take a few moments to welcome anyone who might be new to this Wednesday night service. I'm going to take a look at the names on the thing here. Most of you are familiar to me, but in case you're watching this in the video recording, I'd like to encourage you to navigate yourself to our website, www.oaklandcsl.org. I invite you to click on the I'm New icon, where you can provide your email so that you can receive the village newsletter that goes out once a week, and it's on Thursdays that we send it out. It has all the information about what's happening at our center in the coming weeks. So I've got some housekeeping notes before we get started. I'd like to invite everyone to please stop your videos and mute your audio. This makes it a better quality recording for us, and it helps with our transmission. So thank you ahead of time for doing that. And I will tell you that our tech team behind the scenes will mute you if necessary. So stay tuned all the way to the end of service to receive special and important announcements. All right. This evening, we have a special guest speaker. Her name is Rev. Deb Hammond. And she's really no stranger to the Bay Area, even though she's currently residing in Savannah, Georgia. Rev. Deb is an interfaith minister who received her minister's license from One Spirit Seminary in 2018. And she's also a licensed practitioner, having received her practitioner's licensing through the East Bay Church of Religious Science. So she is actually one of our own, as we say in the Bay Area. And she believes in following her intuition, listening and trusting in spirit. And she loves this metaphysical life. And I'm sure we're going to get some insight into that with her talk this evening. So as we do with every organized event at the center, we open with prayer. And so I'm going to turn it over to Rev. Deb to open us up in prayer and lead us in her discussion. Rev. Deb?
So let us just take this moment to just allow ourselves to just be open. If you choose to allow your eyes to close, then let it be. Just knowing it right here and right now that there is truly only the one life, and it is God. God is moving and having its way in each and every opportunity, every experience, every one of us right here, right now. I bless this time that we had together, this gathering of the spiritual oasis that's happening right now. And those that are here in person, that your energy that you bring to this moment, it is felt right here. That those that when they come to watch the video, that they feel that energy, they feel that love, they feel the flow of who you are and how that connection with spirit, how it just, it rises. I feel it within myself. So I know that there's truly only one of us here. So if I'm feeling this, I know that this moment, this time is full of God energy. So I bless this time that we have together, knowing that it is already perfectly done in the mind of God. And I just release this into the law, knowing that it is so, and so it is. And I anchor this with, and so it is. Amen. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Happy Wednesday night Oasis gathering. I am truly excited to be here this evening with you all. Greetings from Savannah, Georgia. That's where I am right now. But I want to take a moment as we are still in Black History Month, that this person came to mind today for me. On this day, February 15th, there's a lady by the name of Bridget Biddy Mason, and she died on February 15th, 1891. She was a Black nurse and a Californian real estate entrepreneur and philanthropist. She is the founder of the first African Methodist Church in Los Angeles, California. She was born into slavery in Mississippi. She was owned by slaveholders in Georgia and South Carolina before returning to Mississippi. During the time when she was in her 30s, that she actually walked 1,700 miles behind a 300 wagon caravan from Mississippi to Utah and then into California. Once she moved her family to California, during that time, she realized that there was an opportunity that in California, slaves were free, and she took advantage of that. She worked as a midwife and a nurse, saving her money and using it to purchase land in what is now the heart of downtown LA. There she organized the first AME church, the oldest African-American church in the city. She used her wealth also, estimated to be about $3 million at that time, to become a philanthropist to the entire LA community. She donated to numerous charities, fed and sheltered the poor, and visited prisoners. Mason was instrumental in founding a travelers aid center and an elementary school for Black people. Her name is Bridget Biddy Mason, and she passed away January 15th, 1891. That's part of being in the flow. So as I start this talk, we've all heard the statement that says inquiring minds want to know. So our theme, as you know, is that this week it's inquiring minds want to flow. And so in that awareness, I have to laugh at myself sometimes. I have to share something that Spirit gave me this morning as I was driving to work. And that had me to pause, but I was still driving, so I didn't stop in the middle of it. But what happened is the past couple of days, I've been processing what to say for this talk, how to work through this, and what I needed to add to this talk. And so as I was thinking about this, even last night, processing, writing out the format, going over it several times in my head, on my drive this morning, I heard, "You are not in my flow. I gave you the message already." And I just had to laugh. I'm just like, okay, I'm listening. So I went back to what I dictated last week, the message that was literally downloaded. So with some people that know me, and when I do a lot of talks, a lot of times I may use some acronyms. And so Spirit gave me an acronym for flow. And actually there are two different acronyms. And it had me to think about when we say that, being in the flow, we're always in the flow of somehow. Either we are in man's flow or we're in God's flow. And so being in man's flow, we're in that place of fear, lack or limitation. We're overthinking the process, overthinking what to do. And we're waddling in the fill in the blanks. I don't have enough, I can't do it, I can't figure it out, etc. That keeps us in the man's flow, in our mind, in our own human flow. And then these are some ways that keeps us or puts us in God's flow. And that is when we follow that inner guidance and we let go of that conversation, let go of the old beliefs, the old stories. When we open ourselves to receive the information that Spirit is giving us. And then when we welcome the manifestation in gratitude, because even when we do our prayer, we do the prayer from the place of we know that it's already done. So we're welcoming that manifestation in gratitude. That is keeping us in God's flow. So for my inquiring mind to speak to you, this talk is truly the message from the inner conversation that Spirit downloaded as I was driving to work. And I love those moments, those in the car or either in the shower moments. And I'm quite sure a lot of you have probably had all of those before. So what this was think of your life, your thought process like a water hose. You know, we set our intentions, we declare what it is, that which we desire. And we know it's like it's manifesting. It's just like, yes, I've declared it, it's manifesting, it's happening. It's like, bam, everything is like falling into place. We're receiving unexpected gifts, you name it. And it's just like with the water hose. It's like when the water hose, you turn it on and the water is just flowing out just endlessly until you stop it. So we're watering everything and we're pointing it at whatever it is that we want to water. And then all of a sudden, nothing happens. Nothing is coming out. So I think with my thought process, all of a sudden, the flow of life where I was, the manifestation that was coming, it stopped. And it's like, wait a minute, what happened? Everything was flowing. So that inquiring mind of what happened. So you can look at it as someone, or even you, that stepped on the hose, or you realize, and sometimes it's just a kink that's in the hose. And it's like the kink that's in our thought process. The water is still flowing through, but it's just bound in the space of where it is. It's not coming out to the nozzle to actually do what it was guided to do. So, and it's the same thing. You've been doing your inner work. You've been doing your prayer and meditation and your declarations, and you're seeing that your life is flowing. And then all of a sudden, there's the stoppage. There's the kink in your consciousness. Your life hits a snag. That snag could be anything based on your beliefs, your doubts, your fears, your impatience. When you set that intention for what you want to have show up in the world, you're planting that seed. And then it's not showing up. It's not manifesting fast enough. And you think, I've been watering this. I've been doing all of my practices and then some. And then one day, something happens. You do something different. And for me, what I've realized is that I could stop in mid-thought sometimes and think, all right, what happened? What am I thinking that's bringing this opportunity for me to just, you know what, Deb, you need to rethink this. Something's not right. Something's not going on here. And I started thinking, what in my belief system have I stopped doing? What is it? What's that belief that's come up that's allowed me to say, am I really flowing? Am I flowing in man's flow or in God's flow? Am I in this place of, all right, Deb, you really need to think about this. What did you do? What did you say? And I could go back to certain situations that have happened where I've seen things going on. It's like, and I'll go back and I'll ask, I'll inquire, what did I say to set this opportunity in motion to stop the water hose? And the answer will show up. And I'm like, oh, so I was not, so I, what I stated was that there is, with work, I look at my work situation and I catch myself saying, I don't have enough employees to do this job. And I realized that I'm planting that seed that I don't have enough employees because people were showing up. And then in a conversation, I started saying, oh, I don't have enough people. Water hose stops right there. And I'm thinking, okay, let me change this. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, cancel, cancel, cancel. Let me cancel this. And then I have to come back and remind myself that I have more than enough people to do the work that's required. So in this, and for me, in this awareness, it is about me stopping my own water hose, stepping on that hose. And so this morning, when I was coming in, when I was driving to my store this morning, God truly asked me, it's like I heard this question that said, are you in man's flow or are you in my flow? And I had to think about that because, again, I'm still thinking I'm on my way to work. If I had enough people here, I would not have to be doing this on my own, that I could have the team there. And I realized I'm in my own head. So I'm in that place of that lack consciousness. And that lack consciousness is not necessarily money, but it's the thought process. It's that I feel that I don't have enough of. So I'm in that lack consciousness. So I'm out of flow. I'm not in God's flow. And so what I realized is like, oh, what I know is that that my day is easy, that everything that I need for this day is done. And I kept going back into that space of being in God's flow, that I follow that inner guidance that I'm given. I let go of whatever it is, that belief, that thought process, the words that I put out there. And I open myself to receive the information, the assistance that I declare. And then it's like in that place of gratitude, I just welcome the manifestation. And so I got to my store, one of the stores that I have, and actually everything that I needed, we finished in probably within about 3 hours time frame. And I was thinking it was going to take longer. And I was like, thank you, Spirit. But it reminded me to get out of my head, to get out of that fear, that lack, limitation, overthinking the situation and waddling in what I don't have, but to really be in God's flow. God, Spirit, Source, whatever name we want to give it, the Creator, to be in that space. And so what I am aware of for me is that when that opportunity shows up, when the problem shows up, when the situation shows up for you, how do you work through these situations? For me, this is an opportunity, this whole talk, this theme for this year, for this month, and for this week has really opened me up to really take a deep dive into myself and into my inner, to look at and let go of things from the past that I've allowed to dictate my life to this point. I think about just where I was when I left California in 2013. And I went skydiving in that year, and that was for my 50th birthday. And that opportunity opened up so many doors for me in my consciousness, in my awareness. Because as I'm standing at the door of the plane ready to jump out, I find myself thinking about, oh, well, I hope the plane is okay. I hope the chute opens. And I stopped myself because in that moment, I realized that I was about to make up what that fear was, or it could have been. And in that moment, it's like, you're about to make up something, Deb. That's not true. You're fine. You're perfect, whole and complete, exactly where you are, and you're safe. And I'm like, oh, okay, let's go. And so the guy that I did tandem, and so he said, okay, I'm gonna count to three, and then we're gonna jump. And all he did was one, boom, we went out the door. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, all right, what did I get myself into for one? But I realized that in that moment, it was an opportunity for me to let go, to be free, to really be in the flow and trust spirit as it's guiding. And that year, it's like it shifted a lot for me just in my awareness. And I carry that and I use that moment when I think about what's not happening sometimes. I think back to that parachute moment, to that jumping out of the plane moment, that this is what God is truly, how God shows up for me. And I can only speak for me, but it's like, but I know that there are so many others that are just open to an opportunity to just be free and to really be in that flow. And so in that flow, we are allowing ourselves to say yes to that spirit is calling us to do. Even as I'm moving through this process, this talk tonight, I am still saying yes, because this is that platform that allows me to be of service. And that is a part of being in the flow for me, is how may I serve? And this is an opportunity for me to serve. And I'm grateful for all of these opportunities that show up, but I'm also grateful for the people that I interact with on a daily basis, and how I'm in conversation with random strangers sometimes. I'm in grocery stores a lot, and in the grocery stores, sometimes people just come up and just start having conversation with me. And I'm like, they don't even know me, and they're telling me their personal stories. And I think back, it's like, okay, spirit is using me in this moment. So let me still be in the flow of being that spirit consciousness, that spirit guide. And so in that moment, I say yes. I don't get upset about it, but I'm in the flow. Say, here I am, use me, spirit, allow me to flow into that I'm to do, that I'm here to do in this moment. It may not look like what I think it was going to look like, because that's what happens when we're in the flow. Because it's when we're in that space and we're saying yes to spirit, spirit knows exactly what to do, how to do it. The what is ours. When we're asking and declaring something in particular, the what is ours. The how is not. The how is God's. And we have, in our human minds, we try to think how this is going to work out, or what needs to happen, or in that place of judgment. But when we're in God's flow, we allow spirit to do its work. So we allow ourselves to take our foot off of the hose, to allow the water to flow through, and to continue to water the seeds that we've planted. Changing our thought process is a hard task at times, because it's easy to get, for me, it's easy to get caught up in, why did they do this? Especially when we're driving sometimes. And it's like, we start fussing at people. I do. Okay, so you all may not. So, but I'm just trusting that this happens sometimes. But then I'm like, how am I in the flow of God if I'm fussing at people? Because then that shifts my energy. And so let me bring it back. Let me be in this flow and know that where I'm going, I will arrive in perfect time. So in this opportune time now, it is that time to be still and to know. It's when you know God as your source, when we know God is in control, we co-creating with spirit, but we don't have to figure it out. We can't figure it out. I can't. There are things beyond my human imagination that I can't even imagine. And so when I'm in that quietness, in that still space, information flows to me and I listen and I take it. I run with it sometimes, because then there are sometimes that we're in the flow, we're in God's flow, and all of a sudden it becomes, I don't know if I can do this or not. It's like, really, Spirit, you want me to do this? And this is my conversation. So I realize I go back to that man's flow of that being in that, well, I don't know. It's like, let me think about this. So I start overthinking some things. And then I was like, okay, let me give. I give. I'm listening. What is it that I'm to do? And I follow those instructions. And every time that I do that, I stay in God's flow, it always, always works out. And so I am grateful for this time. And what I want to do at this time is just ask. It's like when you feel that what you intended to happen in your life, that you declared, or even so from this moment forward, think about what is it that you can do? What are some ways that may show up that you've stopped your flow? Or even now that you're aware that there's man's flow and God's flow, think about which flow are you in when you're working with a situation, when you're having a conversation with a person, which flow are you in? Are we in the flow of man, which is fear, lack, limitation, overthinking it, waddling in the process, whatever it is? Or are we in God's flow? Are we listening and following that inner guidance, letting go of the doubts, the fears, the beliefs, opening yourself to receive and welcoming the manifestation in gratitude? What I know is that the choice is yours alone. When you know, you flow. And I just want to take this time to just thank everyone for this time together and knowing that this moment is a flowing moment. And as I conclude this talk, I just want to go ahead and take us into prayer. Is that okay? So thank you for this day. Thank you for this moment. Thank you for this time that we have spent together. For I know that this flow that is happening right now continues from this moment forward, that each and every person has something to think about, to contemplate in their minds and their hearts, in their awareness right now. As we keep our minds on spirit, spirit allows us to move and have our way, move in the path of where spirit is guiding us to go. That spirit is saying yes. And there is this opportunity to just listen, to be still and listen. And then as we're guided to move. So I'm grateful for this gathering, this opportunity to be with each and every one of you all tonight. How good and very good this is. I bless this time forward as we take this flow into the next, into our sleep, into our next day, our next moment. And I'm grateful for this and so much more. And I anchor this with, and so it is. Amen.
Oh, and so it is, Rev Deb. Thank you. So I have a question. Are you open to some comments and questions from the gallery this evening?
Yes, I am.
All right. So I put a question out there, but you may have your own question. What is it that you can do to lift your foot off the water hose and allow the divine water.
I love that. Yes. Yes.
So you know how this goes. I see Dorothy's already got her.
Dorothy. Yeah, go ahead.
Reverend Deborah, I can't thank you enough for bringing me back. I have had a terrible last 2 days. And thank you for bringing me back to my source,
Yes.
because I have been dealing with people and forgetting who my source is and who I need to come to. I want to thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for tonight. I rushed to get here. I'm misplaced. I'm not at my home where I should be, but things are happening there. And I'm not able to go back into my house, but I just want to thank you, love.
Thank you.
God is good, and you have brought me back to where I need to put my energies instead of people. Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bertha, Margia, go ahead.
You're muted.
Okay.
Thank you.
My greetings and nice to see you, Reverend Deb, and everyone else. I want to say the answer to the question for me is for me to notice that I have these big size 10s on the hose and then step off of it before I trip myself, thinking that I'm gonna do it and knowing that God has already got it done. Just allow myself to be the instrument that I was designed to be. So thank you for that delivery.
Thank you, Bertha. Good to hear your voice.
Thank you.
Reverend Sunshine, go ahead.
Great talk, Rev Deb. I
Thank you.
expected no less. Thank you for fulfilling my desire and my need in my invitation. Yay. I put in the chat, I don't know if y'all saw that when I have mentioned from the pulpit that I have a friend that's an expert with acronyms. I too, we share that in common. We love acronyms, right? There was one, I can't even remember what it was. I was getting a little stuck on that. So I said, oh, I know. I'll sit with the Rev Deb. And she got me started. I came up with my own. But anyway, my question is, I heard you say the acronym and I was waiting for it. So I know you have an acronym for flow or something. There's an acronym in there. Come on, don't leave me hanging.
So you mean post it in there or you want me to say it again?
Oh, I want you to say it because I must have missed it.
Okay, so the flow, so in the flow, so there are two. So there's man's flow, which is fear, lack or limitation, overthinking, and waddling in the fill in the blanks. That's the man's flow. In God's flow, we follow the inner guidance, let go of fill in the blanks, whatever it is. Open yourself to receive, and then welcome the manifestation in gratitude.
Oh, I think we need that, right? We need to see that.
I'm copying this right now so I'm going to put it in the chat right now.
Thank you for that. That's good. I got the God's flow and the man's flow, but I didn't catch the rest. So I knew there was one in there somewhere.
All right, let's see.
Lita, why don't you go ahead?
Lita, you're muted if you're talking.
No? Can you-
That's good. We can hear you.
Okay. So I first want to say thank you, Reverend Deb, for joining us
Thank you.
tonight. And I love the title or the statements, man's flow or God's flow. And that really is an impact. Which flow are you flowing with, man or God? And that brings me back to reality about a few things. And also, water is refreshing. When water is flowing, it's just refreshing, and it just allows us to think and be still. And I think sometimes I'm wondering, am I flowing here or not, or why not? And I just love it. I just think of nature and water flowing over the rocks and the rills and around the trees. And it's just moving. It's moving, moving, moving. So
Wow.
I'm going to
Wow.
ask
And wow.
myself,
Yes.
where am I flowing with God, or am I flowing with man? And if I'm flowing with man, why? Why? So you put a lot on my mind, and and I love it, and I
Thank you.
love water, and yes, it's necessary to sustain our lives, and this is just beautiful. This is beautiful. I know whenever I'm outside walking or on a bus, I look for water. I want to see if there's a body of water, because, and I remember when I used to take the Transbay bus to San Francisco, as we were going over the water, I felt this deep vibration, and it was very strong, and it was supportive. And I don't know quite how to describe it, but the water was like a foundation, and I was going over it, and I could feel the vibration. So water means a lot to me. So thank you very much.
Deb.
Thank you.
Wow. Wow.
Thank you. It does for me as well. That's one of the reasons why I'm here in Savannah, because out of all the places in Georgia, this is where I'm near the beaches. I'm near water here. I'm an hour, 45 minutes to beaches on either part of me, or the 2.5 hours to Florida. So I'm near water. That's my go-to place as well.
Oh, how lovely.
Yes.
I see Rev Jerry's got her hand up, and after Rev Jerry, I was hearing Grady, so we might want to give Grady an opportunity after Rev Jerry.
Okay.
Hello, Rev Deb, and thank you so much for that beautiful talk. It was just so many wonderful nuggets in it. It's just simplifying it in such a way that we can embrace it. The whole idea of flow in the water. I love what Lita said. I live in Alameda, which is surrounded by water, and I live on the water. So I too love that energetic and that feeling of the flow. But more than anything, I wanted to share that when I'm stepping on the water hose and blocking the flow, my mantra is I surrender to the power and presence of spirit within me. I surrender to the power and presence of God within me.
Yes.
So that is a mantra that is my go-to mantra when I feel, that I'm blocking the flow in any way at all. And so I share that with everyone because it really works for me, especially in the middle of the night when I awaken and my mind starts getting active and working over everything.
Yes.
I go into that mantra and I fall back to sleep. So I love that. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
The
That's a
evening.
great mantra. I love that.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, Grady, would you like to share anything?
I would. Rev Deb.
Yes, Grady.
Wow.
Hi, Grady.
Hi. Wow. 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 As Reverend Jerry stated, many nuggets. Which flow am I in? When you know, you flow.
Yes.
I want to thank you for the opportunity tonight for me to take a deep dive into myself. I'm really looking forward to listening again. And I just thank you. Lovely.
Thank you, Brady. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's all spirit. I had to surrender to it. So thank you.
All right, beloveds. Any other comments or questions? All right, I'm not seeing any, but I would love to say for myself, wow, Rev Deb, I'm gonna ditto what Grady said. You know, this has really been wonderful this evening. When you know you flow, I think
Yes.
I keep saying that for myself. And I also want to bring in our beloved Dr. Dan. Dr. Dan, today, our supply is at hand.
Yes.
The hose is attached, the water is flowing.
Yes.
And he says, only good is coming out of this situation, no matter what the outer appearance may be. And you gave us so many examples of how, you know, you're in this situation and it's like, wait. let's think about what's actually going on here. So thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Reverend Sally.
You're welcome. And let's see, great talk, Gabriella says. And Rev Jerry posted, I surrender to the power and presence of God within me. That's her affirmation. And
Yes.
Reverend Sunshine's hand up there.
Yeah, one more quick thing. You talked about the fussing. I'm a fusser too. And I catch myself. I often say to myself and to other people, you have to catch yourself doing things that are right and doing things that you want to change. And I was fussing about something here recently. I don't know if it was when I was driving. That's what you mentioned.
Mhm.
But I
Yes.
caught myself. I heard myself, and it's almost like it's the same sentence, because I have a sentence that's fussing, and then I'll catch myself, and then it kind of turns and goes this way. And so it's like you said, cancel.
Yes.
You know, we need to neutralize those things that we put out there, because even the little fussing can, like you said, be your foot on the water hose. You're not
Yeah.
flowing because you're paying attention to those things that are not to your liking, when in actuality, if you stood in acceptance or gratitude or seeing it differently, you never know. You might come to like that thing, or it
This
might
is
bring
true.
you epiphany. So anyway.
Yes. Thank you for that. Yes, definitely.
All right. Well, thank you. And I invite everyone to hang on to your seats as we go through our announcements. And then we'll bring it back into the gallery view at the end of the announcements so that we can visit and say hey to one another. So I'm going to let Peter bring up the slides. There we go. So as you have seen so far this month, we are having a fabulous Black History Month 365 celebration, and it continued this evening. Now, coming this Sunday, February 19th, Reverend Sunshine Michelle Coleman will be speaking on The World is an Oyster. Her meditation starts at 10 a.m. and the service starts at 10:30 in the sanctuary and online, but she'll be in the sanctuary. Next Wednesday, February 22nd, practitioner emeritus Carmen West Jefferson will continue the discussion of The World is an Oyster. The meditation will begin at 6:30 p.m. and the service starts at 7 p.m. on Zoom. Now remember to pick up your Season for Nonviolence daily readings in the foyer of the sanctuary on Sundays, or you can download them through the link in the Village News. It's never too late to embrace peace. Collect and donate your items for Abundant Blessings, this month's nonprofit partner, In the Barrel, And we can do this more than once, fill up that. The list of what is needed is in the Village News. It's on the barrel, and it's also on the Nonprofit Partners page online. Online, you click the About Us and you go to the drop down for the Nonprofit Partners. Remember to get your copy of The 4 Pivots by Dr. Sean Ginwright so that you can take part in the Diversity Circle Black History Month discussion. We'll be talking about this book. The discussion will be facilitated by practitioner emeritus Carmen West Jefferson and congregants Deborah Jackson and Crystal Fry. And you know what? You can purchase this book at the bookstore and it's 30% off right now, this month. That 30% off sale continues with the Black History focus, as well as, and this might be a bit of a treasure hunt, books referencing love or that have hearts on the cover or any heart merchandise that's on sale in the bookstore. Now, next week is our CSL Annual Vista Conference. And because of this business meeting for the Centers for Spiritual Living, because of this, the office at Oakland Center will be operating in reduced hours. So please plan accordingly. I have a special announcement that we just learned about. I want you to save the date for the annual meeting, March 10th. There'll be more information following on Sunday. Remember that the CALM, the Compassionate Attention to Lost Ministry Support Group, it meets on the first Sunday of every month. So please put that information in your calendar so that you're aware. And always, for information and all that's going on in the Oakland Center, you're invited to visit our website and sign up for our new weekly newsletter, the Thursday Village News. And you can remember to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook for any special updates and content that you'll find only by liking and subscribing to Oakland Center or OCSL. Please like us and subscribe to OCSL today. And this lovely slide that we have here highlights our contact team. If you want to reach out to anyone on our team, their information is available on the website. And I'm sure that they are all here to serve. All right, that's it for the announcements for this evening. So let's move into our conscious giving time. And this evening we have our affirmation. And I ask that you turn within, that you open your heart as you say this affirmation with me. Joyously I give with an attitude of
abundance,
Abundance.
knowing that as I
As
give,
I give, I do
I
receive.
do receive.
And so it is.
so it is.
Amen.
And as you'll see on the slides here, you can access ways to give to the center through the donate icon on the website. And we have credit card, mail, Zelle, text, the offering basket on Sunday. There are many ways to give to our center financially, and we welcome them all. This has been a really great evening. I want to thank Rev Deb for her talk, for her meditation, for her being here with us. We really appreciate it. I also want to thank the Zoom team in the background, Peter and Alice and Constance. I want to thank Reverend Sunshine for her support of the Wednesday night service. And I want to thank each and every one of you who come here on a regular basis, and those of you who just drop in. We're glad you're here. Thank you, everyone. Rev Deb, do you mind if I hand it back to you for another closing prayer? You know, you can never have too much prayer.
Exactly. Excuse me. Not at all. Wow. My heart is full. And I am just coming from this place of just gratitude giving thanks for this moment, this time together, for each and every one of these amazing hearts that have pulled this all together. And those that are here, those that will show up, giving thanks for each energy that's showing here, each face of God that will be in this space right now. I am just truly grateful for this time together, and give thanks for, as you go about your way, be it to bed, be it to wherever your next adventure is. I know that it is blessed, that it is God, and that in this space we continue to flow as God. And I'm grateful, and so it is. Amen.
So it is.
And so it is. Amen.
Man, so it is. Yes. Thank
It
you.
is. All right, I think we can stop the recording and
Oh,